Hello and welcome to yet another episode of the Economic Times Cutting Chai Stories, brought to you by ETH. The urgency and pressure on business leaders and the incredible demands placed on them makes us often wonder how they have time for family, hobbies, or any downtime at a personal level. And let's not forget that they are mere mortals. This initiative by ETH is aimed at creating a deeper connection with them, understanding their views on life and leadership, and also get a sense of what they do to unwind and recharge when they are not in business mode. It is said that one conversation can change the direction of life forever. It is also said that there is nothing better than a cup of tea to get you going. So grab your cup of tea or coffee and join me, Ivan Rodrigues, for a very exciting Cutting Chai conversation. Today, it's my pleasure to host Erez Israeli, Chief Executive Officer at Dr. Reddy's Laboratories, the global pharmaceutical company headquartered in Hyderabad. With over 2.5 decades of experience behind him, Erez today oversees a business that is spread around the world. Pharma is an essential service and never more so apparent than during the COVID-19 pandemic. Interestingly, not a lot of information appears to be available in the public domain about Erez, the person behind the CEO title. From my research, I understand there is a bit of a tough guy image built over the years in Erez's business approach, as well as probably because of his straight-talking ways. But equally, I am intrigued that he appears to be a person of many untold stories. And it will be my endeavor in the next 25 minutes or so to attempt unravel a few of those untold stories. Erez, welcome to the ET Cutting Chai Stories.
Thank you so much for having me.
Our pleasure entirely. Okay, Erez. Let's start at the very beginning. If you were to go back to the early years of your childhood, school, or later college, could you outline some of the incidents that contributed towards shaping your foundation in those formative years? Let's start with where you grew up, and you can then take it forward from there.
Yeah, I was born in a relatively special community. It was very small, maybe 150 people in Israel that used to be communist. It actually was the most extreme form of communism. The people had no property, had no money, worked for the community and got from the community what the community believed they need. And then even after my parents left that community, for living in the city, my relatives, my grandmother primarily lived there, and I used to visit a lot. And that gave me a lot of dream about, it's never about you, it's about the community, it's about something that is bigger than oneself. Something similar happened. I joined the army, like most people in Israel, at the age of 18. Spent money in the time. Unfortunately, some of those were war times. And it was, again, something that it's never about you. It's about the unit, the people, your team. The team was a very important era. And after the army days, I used to backpack around the world. I actually backpacked for 18 months around the world. Went to Pacific Islands, Southeast of Asia, India, 1989, my first trip to India.
Wow.
Africa. And this was the first time I was outside of the country, first time I saw the world. I was a backpacker. 75 rupees per day for me and my wife, for everything, accommodation, traveling. to eating, dining, everything. And I learned a very, very important side of India of that time. For example, as well as Africa and the other places. So over the years, you accumulate all kinds of interesting experiences that you see different type of situation, different type of people. But one thing that came common is that the world is much bigger than yourself. It's about something that is bigger than us, and that was kind of hit hard, at least to me.
And you know, could you move further in terms of the jobs that you might have done? I heard that you borrowed money from your to-be father-in-law.
Yeah, we got stuck in Africa.
Okay.
We had no money to come back, and I borrowed $800 to fly both of us.
Okay.
Back to Israel, and they paid him out of my first salary. Yeah, we came in Israel. Normally, as you going for the army service, plus the backpacking time, etc. So I actually we started university at the age of 24. Like normally in India, you start at, let's say, around 18.
Right.
And at that age, you have to support yourself. Nobody will support you. At least that was the common, let's say, what was customary at the time, at least in our family. And I had to work. So I found work. I was a gardener. I cleaned houses and this kind of stuff to support both of us education at the time. So it was kind of 4 or 5 years in which we did all kinds of jobs to support ourselves.
Interesting. How did pharma happen?
By coincidence, my wife found in the university a very small note that says that that Teva at the time, Teva Pharmaceuticals, that used to be at the time a very local Israeli company before it became a giant, needs a kind of temporary accountant to replace somebody that went on maternity leave. And that's how I found myself taking that. I said enough to clean houses and cut grass, and maybe we'll take a different type of a job. And I tried it. They accepted me.
Okay.
And yeah.
And the rest is history, as they say, Erez.
Something like that, yeah.
And tell me, Erez, I'm interested in knowing one final thing. Obviously, English is not your first language. How did you learn English?
So at the time in the education system of Israel, they did not teach English.
Right.
Let's say whatever they did was very, very basic. Nothing that I could not communicate. And even when we did our backpacking trip, we gained something, but only to get by, like to buy food, to get along, but not to have even a conversation like we have now. So I picked up my English at the age of 35.
35?
35.
Wow.
When Teva sent me to the United States, and I had no other choice but to learn English.
Okay.
So it took me about a few months to pick up the language. I'm still not Shakespeare.
Yeah,
but I can manage.
Right. So, great. After hearing your response to that first question, here's my summary of everything that I've heard. And so, no Ivy League. You started later than others. Your success has come in a crunch time. Really short. You learned the main business language, which is the international language, which is English, much later than most. You said 35, but you did not let any of this stand in the way of your dreams. For me, that espouses that formal education is not the only important thing when it comes to defining the trajectory of your career, and more importantly, underlining the fact that if you want something, Nothing in the world can stop you from getting there as long as you have the belief, the grit, and the determination. I know you're a very shy person, but is that a fair summary?
It's absolutely, from a very, let's call it, low-class, middle-class type of a family. By design, money was not there. Like, they were very socialist, communist, and naturally you got it right. I'm absolutely not an Ivy League guy. Interesting enough, when I joined the United States, all the people I worked with were Ivy League guys. And I was amazed how well they're communicating, how well they're presenting. I did not know what is a PowerPoint. Still don't like PowerPoint. And at the same time, I looked at them, and they were lacking some skills, although they were all great people.
Yes.
For example, the hardship that I saw, at army time and other times versus what they have. So the entire issue of what is stress, what is pressure, what is camaraderie, what is achievable, we were completely in a different scale. And this was what is innovative thinking. When you are learning to grow in a process and well-designed process, it's sometimes hard to walk outside of the process. When you're coming without the processes, it's easier to innovate.
Yes.
So we saw that there were complementary qualities, and they were kind enough to teach me. And they were very generous, and until now, they are my best friends.
Wonderful. Wonderful. You touched on something very interesting, Erez, and in my little reading that I've done, they've said that most of the innovation that has happened in this world has come from hardship. Because it's when you go through hardship, you need to innovate. And I hear you that the ability to innovate and the hardships that you went through have probably stood you in good stead. So that's my takeaway also. Great. Here is my next question for you. What values are most important to you as a leader?
Yeah, this is also something that brought me to India and to Dr. Erez in particular. It's never about you. That's a starting point. There is a purpose that is bigger than you, bigger than anyone, which is about serving the communities around you. And I grew up like that. That's what I said, in the community I brought up, in the army, in the country. It is always about a purpose that is bigger than you.
Right.
This is the number one and the most important things for me. I will never work just for money or just for that kind of stuff. It's not that I'm against money, but it's really not about that. It's about, when you do something, are you truly bring value to your people, to the community around you, and live with a positive impact. And the second is, and that's sorry about that. When I met Prasad, I found that although we are coming from a very, very different background, and very, very different people, very different characters, but we share the values. And it was amazing to see. The second thing that is important for me is that when you do something, you put all in. You are there to be impactful, to be there, to be present. And also, this is the ask for anyone that works for us. You're saying you're serving something is very big. People trust you. To do that well, you need to be all in.
Yes. Yes. Very interesting. You know, Erez, from the little research that I've done about you, simplicity and austerity are ways of living your colleagues associate with you. My question for you is this: was this ingrained in you from childhood? And that's the takeaway that I get. Or was it learned along the way? Was it a combination of both?
I'm assuming that it's a combination of both. It definitely was there from the very beginning. Keep it simple was a very important rule in the family. And it's also very part of the culture of the country I'm coming from. So you have that kind. It's always about be direct, be straight, no BS, what you called, and with that you are impactful. My grandmother used to say that the shortest way from A to B is straight line.
Yes.
So after that, I learned it in school as well. So I'm very much a believer in that. I hate politics. I hate that people are not just saying what they need to say in order to be impactful. And normally it's, I saw that over the years as it evolved, as what is the best way to bring people from different cultures, from different backgrounds, with people with fears, people that not know how to deal with unknown situation, complex situation, etc., how to bring them to that they will still do it in a simple, direct, easier way to be impactful.
Yes.
And that's, over the years, I learned that.
Wonderful. Wonderful. It leads me to my next question. Erez, it is said that creative thinking is the lifeblood of any organization. How do you encourage it within your organization to keep the new ideas coming?
Yeah, it was always true. It's probably more relevant than ever in today's world because the volatility around us is huge.
Yes.
And we have to keep innovating and innovate. We have to keep innovate in a much faster pace. First, you ask for it. People need to know that innovation is part of the game.
Yes.
It's as simple as it sounds. People will not innovate if they don't know that they should and they need to. Second, you need to embrace it. Innovation comes with risk of failures, risk that your ideas will not be accepted, risk in which people may have different opinion. By the way, which is in India, it's not always easy for people. And you have to create an atmosphere that it's okay to make mistake. It's okay to fail. It's actually part of the process. Yes. It is part of what we are here for. We should learn from our mistake, at least not to repeat it. This will be not smart, be smart. But it is absolutely okay. And you have to create a safe zone in which people can feel safe and safe from, for example, some people, when they see senior authority, it can be senior leader, or it can be, a senior person from a different organization, they will be shy respecting that person, especially in a country that have huge respect for others, like India. So you have to create an environment that we are all equal.
Yes.
And the main value that we are trying to do is still, and it's very important for us in Dr. Reddy's, the people are equal. I'm equal to any employees of Dr. Reddy's. We may do different position, and it happened to be my shift. Tomorrow it will be somebody else's shift.
Yes.
But as people, we are equal, and people should speak their mind and treat each other as equal. It's of course beyond just innovation. It's a foundation for everything we do. But this allows innovation.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So well explained. I'm going to ask you the only pharma-related question in this Cutting Chai conversation. I want to focus on you, but I'm very tempted to ask this question since you're here. While India-based global pharma companies have taken giant strides, what is the one area you would like to see the industry do better?
Yeah, I believe that India and the industry in India is amazing. I believe that the pharma industry in India will lead the world, and we are gaining as Indian industry more and more market share and more strength and more talents are coming from India.
Yes.
So I'm a huge believer in India, a huge believer in the pharma. Two areas that can be better. One, more innovative products, more new products that new solutions needs to come out of India. And the second is the use of artificial intelligence.
Okay.
Once we will solve these two issues in India, we will be here in India second to none.
Nice. Very, very positive words coming from you as the CEO of Dr. Reddy's Laboratories. I hope people listening into this take note of that. Very interesting. Erez, how do you unwind? Any interests, hobbies, or activities that you would like to share with us that you indulge in?
I do a lot of sport. I used to do in my past also some extreme sports like long distance running, swimming, stuff like that. Since I joined India, I'm doing primarily yoga. And the yoga combined with fitness for health. I loved it very much. Amazing invention by the Indian people that I wish I knew before I came to India. But
right.
Now, 5 years in India, I became a kind of a yogi.
Wow.
And not good, but love it.
Nice.
And I'm trying to do it even every day if possible. Yeah.
Wonderful. Great. I think you've really embraced India to a great extent. I can see a deep affection for this country when you speak. Wonderful.
I love India. I love India and I love the Indian people.
Wonderful. Erez, how many countries have you lived and worked in? And there is a reason why I'm asking you this question, because I saw a video of you dancing to a Tamil song along with your colleagues. So you talked about India. So what I understand from you is that from this video is that clearly adaptability is your strength. Do you enjoy cultural things of that sort?
Yes, so I do, and I do see also how connected people are to their culture, and I enjoy that connection. So I have a deep appreciation. This came also from my backpacking days, and of course, as I grew up and as I saw more countries and lived in many countries, is you are trying to look at the culture of the people from their eyes, from their glasses, and appreciate it. And so, for example, I loved the way Indian are dancing. So as you saw in the video, I'm not a good dancer, but I love the way people are taking into it, and also learn to identify between the traditional dance and the modern dance, etc., which is part of the culture. The same way when you go to countries like Japan, like China, United States, which is more of an immigrants, kind of mixed type of a country, you see many types of people, many type of backgrounds, many types of action. And normally, the first thing I'm trying to do is to understand the roots, from where they're coming, what is their core values. And in the case of India, it's amazing to see how deep the most of my colleagues are so connected to their religion, to their family, to their background. Always great to see that.
Very interesting. I'm really enjoying this conversation. I know it's very late. You're joining us from Israel. I wish we could keep talking, but maybe at some other time. What I'm going to do, Erez, on that note, is move to another part of this cutting chai conversation, which is called the one word, one line answer. It's very simple. I will throw a set of options at you, or probably ask you a question, and would request you to respond in one word. You don't have to justify anything, because all the answers are going to be right answers, because these are your answers. It's a fun round. We want to get to know you better, beyond Erez, beyond the job designation, which is the Chief Executive Officer at Dr. Reddy's Laboratory. So are you ready for this?
Please.
Okay. Kindly choose one of the two options: books or movies?
Books.
Nice. Exercise or diet?
Exercise.
Friends or family?
Family.
Nice. You're very good at this. Absolutely no doubts. You're giving the answer straight away. I like it. Comfortable silences or incredible conversations?
Incredible conversation.
Nice. Indian breakfast or all English breakfast?
Indian breakfast.
Ah, nice. Okay, coming to the subject of dancing, do you prefer dancing or making others dance?
Dancing.
Dancing, okay. 3 people who are closest to you, Erez?
My wife, by far, and then my 3 kids, so it will make it 4.
Okay, that's very sweet. Wonderful. Could you name 3 qualities in a person that make a good friend?
Honest, somebody I share these values, and somebody fun to be with.
Nice. What a lovely range of qualities you've chosen. Excellent. Could you name your favorite holiday destination in India and one internationally?
So I enjoy Dharamsala a lot.
Okay.
And internationally, we are a big fan of New Zealand, especially the South Island.
Nice, nice, wonderful. If you were a gifted painter and could paint anything, what would you paint?
I would love to paint the Mona Lisa, but I'm absolutely not a gifted painter.
No, that's what I'm saying. If you were a gifted painter, so that's fine. We would have Mona Lisa version 2.0. That's wonderful. Great. Erez, if you could start a charity, what would it be for?
For people that need help to build their business.
Nice. Very good. Last 2 questions in this segment. If you had your own talk show, whom would you invite as your first guest?
I would love to invite Gandhi. I know we are not in the same generation, but it's a person I admire.
Yeah. I forgot to mention, it could be anybody, somebody who's passed away, somebody who's current, even a fictional character. And so I didn't mention that, but Gandhi, that's a wonderful choice. Final question. Fill in the blanks, complete the sentence. Life is incomplete without?
Without joy, without joy doing that, being there.
Nice. A wonderful note to end this cutting chai conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Erez, Israeli Chief Executive Officer at Dr. Reddy's Laboratories. Erez, I really enjoyed this conversation. There was a lot to learn for me personally, and I'm sure there's a lot to learn for those who will view. I liked your humility. I liked the clarity of your thoughts. I liked your groundedness, your roots, and I liked your unwavering view on certain aspects, be it the values, the honesty, no politics, straight line that your grandmother taught you from point A to point B, and so much more. As we end, I'm reminded of a few quotes when it comes to you. One of them is that it's said that success isn't just about what you accomplish in your life. It's about what you inspire others to do. And Erez, you come across as that leader in and out. There's no doubt in my mind about that. Again, this is an anonymous quote, the next one. It says, "My responsibility as a leader is getting all my players playing for the name on the front of the jersey, not the one on the back." And again, for me, that comes across. It's about teamwork that you believe in. No individual is greater than the team. Erez, I had a wonderful time chatting with you. On behalf of ETH, I would like to wish you, your family, and Dr. Reddy's Laboratories the very best.
Thank you so much. You are very kind with me. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome.